is good, this policy is bad, that may fall within party lines. In fact, typically it would, and so that would be seen as pandering to one party or the other. So anything that we do is nonpartisan in nature. And one other note, we're 235 employees strong, so we're pretty small. We're all here in Washington, we're all here on the 4th floor. So now I'll talk a little more about the role of CBO budget analysts. We have 3 principal responsibilities throughout the year. We work on projecting federal spending and receipts. We score spending for the Congress throughout a session, and then we provide cost estimates of pending legislation. So the first thing that we do is we prepare a 10-year baseline of federal spending and receipts every December. And that is basically the launching point for the coming year, the budget year's budget resolution. So in doing this, we basically project what we think spending will be on the discretionary and the mandatory sides of the budget for the next 10 years. And we base that entirely on current law. The reason we do that is because we don't want to be in the business of trying to predict the future. We're here to provide that baseline so that any pending legislation that comes along we will show changes at the margin vis-a-vis our baseline. Okay, I mean, we do this for the consistency when we're estimating. Some things we know will happen, like this administration's tax cuts. They are slated to expire in current law. Many of them probably will not expire, regardless of what the next administration does. Similarly, we have the alternative minimum tax. Under current law, we were supposed to assess that every year, and for I don't know how many of the past years that has been completely patched or not assessed on anybody. And so while we know these things are going to happen, we continue to play along as if they will, all right? Once we finish with that December baseline, we write up a report and we release it in January. And then at the beginning of February, we receive the president's budget. In the president's budget, we basically go through 2 exercises. The president and OMB in particular, they are the keepers of actuals for the past year's spending. They're the ones who have the number of budget authority and outlays for every program and every account that we look at, and that covers the entire federal budget. So we update our baseline based on the actuals that they provide us with. And then we also look at the president's policy proposals and reestimate them. So the president in every budget that he releases will put in a number of ideas, policies that he wants to implement. Those policies may differ from what those policies have costs attached to them. They're given with estimates. We may think those estimates are not adequate for a couple of reasons. One, the president has the right to paint a picture of the economy however he chooses. I mean, it's a partisan budget. Those are his ideas. Sometimes our view of how the economic situation in the U.S. is different from what the president will say. That could affect projections going forward. The second reason why we may disagree with the president's numbers for these proposals is simply because a lot of times these proposals do not have any kind of legislative language actually in the budget. It's just, hey, we want a new program for healthy lands. Have fun, go to it. And so they'll provide numbers and we'll say, well, you know, we know that there are these grant programs, we know that there's current law that does this or that, and so we actually think, you know, spending would be X, and they'll say Y. Once we package up what becomes published, our March baseline, we send that to the committees on the budget. They use that information to formulate the budget resolution, which I'm sure Greg will get into. But that's basically a blueprint of spending for the year. Good? Any questions? No? All right.
When you said they'll say X and we'll say Y, did you mean like we'll give a different number or you will question the X?
We'll give different numbers.
So the letter Y. Okay.
When you recalculate the numbers, do you go back, do you talk with anyone in OMB or the different agencies?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of a default rule is that if we don't have a great reason to believe that the numbers should be different, we will take OMBs. I mean, we want to give the benefit of the doubt, but sometimes there are clear reasons why we think the numbers should be different. And we'll consult with OMB quite a bit during the process and say, hey, you know, this is what we think. They explain why they have their numbers in a certain way, and then we say, all right, well, we disagree. But it's friendly. I mean, we work with OMB quite a bit.
And do you work with the agencies?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have to. We don't have the kind of expertise on programs or on how money actually works through those programs. I mean, I as an analyst cover 5 federal agencies. I just do not have the time or the resources to know every single program, every single line item expenditure.